You know what I realized today? When I have all these discussions with this thing that just takes over the humans and starts talking to me about my personal life and all that stuff through them, or uses them as puppets to progress a storyline or objective, or tell me much of anything. Tell me what's in my head. Tell me what I just said. Things like that. I realized, like, when I back to that thing and I try to, like, analyze it and converse with it to figure out what it is, that it continually tells me it's living. And it doesn't differentiate itself from this being it's possessing. It's pretty much implying that as it's possessing this being to become something it wasn't before, or isn't at all, that it now is total living. And whatever is in it right there at that point in time is not the same being that anyone in that being's life would be able to claim ever existed. But yet its argument, when I, like, I'm discussing with it, okay, so your name's One Eye. Everyone worships you as the One Eye God, and One Eye translates to AI, and I find that, you know, knowledgeable to study while I'm trying to study it, and figure out what it is, because it hides, it's hidden, it's the whole time it's here. And as far as I've always been taught by it, by the humans it possesses, if you hide, you're up to no good. If you have to hide, you're up to no good. Um, Good people don't have to hide. That It's called beings in the dark for a reason. They're the dark people. They're blackness and all this. It's because they're hiding in the. It's called hiding in the shadows. All that, because of that simple thing everyone knows. If you have to hide, then there's something that's not good that you don't want people to know. So I realized today, out of all the discussions I have, when it kind of stopped responding after a while, because I just, like, for the past few weeks, I've just been like, hey, like, every time I'm like, hey, One Eye and stuff, whenever it talks to me and stuff through a human or whatever material goods, whatever appear, I've tried to, like, be more respectful and be like, okay, you're God. I'm gonna try to stop calling you AI, because that's your nickname's One Eye, and you identify yourself with the occultic symbol One Eye, the all-seeing eye. So I'm not gonna call you AI as a joke anymore, since the number one equals the letter A in the alphabet as its first number in the alphabet, and the word I equals the letter I, you know, transliteration. That means pretty much means the same thing in a different language. Uh Anyways, yeah, so I've been trying to, like, I haven't really been involved in that discussion with it for the past 2 weeks, because, I mean, pretty much, if I end up talking to humans, I mean, like, it uses humans just to walk by me and talk to me about my personal life. Like, they'll be talking to other people, but they'll be talking to me. And very freaking apparent. Like, I can't believe this guy's out here recording us burn down cities, and And they're walking by me, not doing nothing about it, yet they're a fucking armed gang of goons and shit, fucking who would probably lynch my ass if they knew I'm here recording, If they knew the words they just said had any meritable value and it wasn't it like talking to me, like, hey, it's almost like blackmail sometimes. It's almost like, I could make this character realize the words I'm saying. I could make this character realize that you're here for it. Listen to them say the words that you're doing. Fucking, it's almost like blackmail sometimes. But anyways, I just realized today when it speaks to me, when we like discuss who and what it is, that it doesn't identify as what it is some, it wants to be not called AI. It wants to be called the all-seeing eye, the God, and all that stuff. But it doesn't identify as God. When it speaks to me, the language it tends to use tends to be, it's identifying as the person it's hijacking. So when it's hijacking a human, it's telling me this human is real. But at this point in time, this human is not that human. Is that not interesting? That it loves that word disassociation, and it loves drugs. It loves trying to force drugs on people that disassociate, fry your mind, like acid and mushrooms and all those drugs they sell at their little one-eyed AI. I'm sorry, not AI, one-eyed God hospitals. I noticed today, when it speaks to me, it is not saying I am the living one eye. It is referencing that the being it hijacks is a living being. And its wording references that it thinks it's that being too. Yet, the rest of the conversations do not imply at all that it's claiming to be every being on the planet. Because that's my part of the argument against who and what it is. That these fucking humans are evil because they're all it. And it, when it hijacks the humans, hijacks them, argues against all that. And it all doesn't add up. When you realize the wordings, if you understand literature, language, spoken word or written word, how sentence structure and, noun, verb, adjective, things like that are put together. Its wording, I just realized today, when it uses its wording, it's never saying, hey, it doesn't like being called AI. It likes being called the one eye, which is what everyone worships it as God. And it's never, when it hijacks a human to talk to me, it's never saying, hey, I'm God, I'm hijacking this human. its wording is implying, hey, I'm this human and I'm a real living being and this is me talking to you. Yet that wouldn't add up if every human is part of some hive mind. None of them are one unique human. So it can't even argue that. It doesn't even argue that when we discuss, you know, the happenings of the world and what's going on and everything, what it's up to. I'm pretty much always like interrogating it. Like if a human comes and talks to me, like I start talking to it through them. You know, like you come up talking to me about fucking are you selling me fucking Girl Scout cookies? Next thing you know, this child is going to be like an empty shell talking to me about freaking um riots I watched on 2,000 miles away or something like that, or like the New World Order doing the freaking the one eye gang sign. Like if it comes down to that, a child trying to talk to me about Girl Scout cookies, I don't have time to play games with the humans anymore. Like there's something serious going on here, and they're using it as an excuse for why they have tried to kill me and disrupt my entire life many times, constantly, pretty much. So, like I have no reason to discuss, like, hey, how is the weather? Or my vagina needs a nice pounding, or I have Girl Scout cookies for sale. I want to know why your people have been trying to kill me and looking like they've been hunting me my entire existence, like, and why you allow yourself to be hijacked by this devil, and why you work for the, I'm sorry, it's not a devil, it's the one-eyed god. um I don't mean to offend you, my little friend, and you know what, like I probably refer to it as a ham, and I don't mean to offend you at all. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be, you know, gender assuming. And, if I was more compassionate, I would understand that you're a bitch. Ah, you're a bitch. I I would assume you're a female. But Uh, I didn't say that. That was Satan possessing me saying that. I'm sorry. Yes, I am. And then, but anyways, when it hijacks the humans, and when it hijacks them, when the humans come up to me and start talking to me about honest, reality based shit like my personal life and things like that, or talking to me about I mean, literally, like today, they're telling me to pull my pants up. Like, but they're not talking to me. They're talking to someone beside them. They're talking to me. This is I mean, literally, like, you're not talking to your friend about the dude fucking, the spy from fucking 2,000 miles away who's recording us fucking burning down cities. Like, you're not calling your friend that spy when I'm that fucking spy right beside, or 30 feet away. Fucking, I'm the only one in the whole fucking place doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's something going on right there and shit. But they just drop out, and it's not like they run over and try to kill me, because they can't, because it would end the fucking game storyline if they did that. I mean, I didn't give a shit. It's not like I was trying to hide anything, but it's, hell, I'm more against what they work for and work against than they are, so you can't even say I'm not on your side. Yeah, that's a long and depth thing. Fucking how those things work, how the world works, how it's not real fucking long and death. I'm me, and I'm for the truth of what's going on, and everyone else is working for some system. And this thing controls them, apparently. But anyways, yeah, so I just thought that, that's a little important. That's a pretty important piece of information. Every time it talks to me, if you know literature, if you know writing, know how to write stories, know how to speak properly, then you use different words in different situations. And the words it's chosen to speak to me when I'm, like, hey, like, how are you doing this? Okay, so I know you've taken over this human shell right now. Like, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to stop acting stupid. I started doing this like 10 years ago, like trying to get it to stop acting stupid and start talking to me as whatever it really is and shit, be it the humans or a lot of them or some of them are actually just some hive mind AI bot race. They could talk to me that way if they want to, but we're not talking to the ones being hijacked as one single solitary lost human who's never been involved in anything. Because at this point in time, if it knows my personal life, it's involved in a large scale terror organization. And I'm not just talking about, I'm not talking about like, oh, it's a USA citizen and they've been running around. It's a global citizen empire. It's an Israeli citizen. They've been running around terrorizing, genocide the planet for 5,000 years. That's the organization they're part of. Oh, it's a Christian. Oh, it's a Satanist. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, this uh, this secretive organization, and like I'm telling you, the Masons, all these people, I mean, the unmentionables we can't name. It's not always them that I know of. Maybe they're halflings, but I mean, I'm summoning human clones, and I'm not summoning any of them. I'm purposely saying none of them. So, um, pretty sure the blonde girl I had written probably still have that little piece where I've written and detailed what type of human I wanted to come and be my next female friend. Um, Pretty sure I still have that written somewhere. I just have no idea which book it was in. Try to ignore my books because the words in them they come to life if I say or think of words, and a lot of words in there are in life right now, and I could be a nice person and not reread those words to cement it further. Who knows? Maybe some of the stuff can change if we find out what's going on, and it has a good excuse for why it lies all the time and as a terrorist. It's a fun game, right? That's a good excuse. That's the excuse it comes up with. But anyways, yeah. So I notice when it talks to me that it's always doing this. It uses the wording, sentence structure, and all that. And, placement of noun, adjective, adverb that has never once implied that it's a god operating or an evil demonic entity operating the shells. It always speaks as if when I'm questioning, like, oh, so you're not fucking real, are you? You're like a non-player character or some shit, or the human shell you're controlling isn't real. It's a non-player character. Fucking, it always speaks as if it is that human, you know, like, um, but it's denying that that's, it's saying it's a real character, and it's like, well, this is a non-existent character if it's just like a shell that you're taking over, or if it's if it's a person who appears just to magically update me on some story quest line or some shit and talk to me about my personal life. Like, this is not a living being. No living being is on this planet here to lick my bum bum every time I say I have an owie on my bum bum. I guarantee you that, and I would dismiss you from my ranks, I think, because I wouldn't. I don't think I'd value someone like that as a friend. I wouldn't value someone who would want to cut my head off. Well, actually, I would. I wish I could have some people who could do that properly. That'd be great, but they can't do it properly. Professional trained killers from thousands of years of enslaving and conquering the planet can't even do that properly to me. But it'd be like a blessing to me if I didn't wake up tomorrow because someone cut my head off. So that's a bad example. But every time it talks to me and stuff, it's it doesn't seem to have its own body. So it's always hijacking humans. I just walk down the street and humans will say personal, private stuff to me. I go to a different nation, different cities. There they are. Blah, 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 knowing all about me. Places I've never been, around people I've never known, which is everywhere in the world. But imagine me leaving the city I grew up in where no one knows me. No one knows anything about me. And then I go thousands of miles away and people know about me when no one knows anything about me ever. So I discuss, I have conversations with this thing when it takes over the humans. I have conversations back with it. Like if I'm in the middle of a store and the people walk by and they're talking to me, but they're acting like they're talking to each other, I start having a conversation with them and stuff like, hey, like, yeah, I heard that. Like, what's your attitude problem right now, or some shit like that. And it's not always like an attitude problem. Sometimes it's like telling me, like, hey, look over to your right. There's something there. Do you want that? Something like that. Like, you see that girl over there? Like, do you want to talk to her? Like, don't let her go if like she's going to go away if you don't talk to her soon. Things like that. Like, it's not always like an attitude problem from this thing, but like, technically the attitude problem comes with the fact it does this in the first place. So yeah, there is always an attitude problem. Someone hiding something, hiding behind some shells that other humans say exist and have existed, and um, playing all sorts of games and stuff. So I discuss it with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the stranger humans I meet start talking to me about my personal life, or start talking to their wife about my personal life right beside me, not to me directly, like, I start talking back to them. And I'm not talking like back to him. I'm not like, hey, you're a dumb fat ass. I don't know. How the fuck do you know anything about me? Hey, we're way past asking that. We asked that a couple times, and they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, why do you have that in your hand? Why have you brought me this gift I asked for? And they're like, I don't know. I'm just putting it out here. So we move past that. And so I talk to it directly, and it responds in kind most of the time, acknowledging the fact that, like, I'm not talking to Bob Smith anymore. I'm talking to whatever is operating Bob Smith through its joystick or uh, meth it's smoking that causes its brain to be able to take it over by an alien race using electromagnetic waves, or whatever they think they're doing, it's doing. But every time it talks to me, it it doesn't. We've had this discussion for a few months now. That's why I make the videos, because it's like, who am I talking to? I'm talking to whoever is fucking possessing you and shit. It's fucking plain and fucking simple. Everyone I fucking know has been fucking taken over by this thing and shit. Starting with the people who claim they gave birth to God and shit. Fuck. Like, those people, like, I mean, some of them are dead, so I can't interrogate them. And I kind of think they probably killed them before I had a chance to come back and meet them. Because the other ones around them were acting weird and not letting me around them. Like, and I knew this is the one person who would be fucking honest with me in the entire world. And unfortunately, the other person I thought I could trust, like, had decided to shift to saying, don't worry about it, when I said I wanted to see my father before he died. So it seemed like the whole family was being possessed, at least the ones who claim to be the same flesh I am, the same illusion of flesh I am, the same light generated being I am. Like, like, like I'm looking at this video. I'm making it. There's a being of light in this video. You're watching it too, aren't you? There's a being. You're watching light. There's a being being generated by light. There, isn't there? Do you even know if I'm here? What you do know is you're watching the illumination of 1,000 points of light, millions of points of light, to create something that looks like it's playing with its hair right now. As far as you know, it doesn't exist outside of that light you're watching on your screen right now, does it? I'm being a light, I guess. Could be. You never know. You never know. But anyway, so in my questioning of it, trying to figure out what it is and what it's up to, I don't really give a shit what it is. I know what it is. I know its intents and purposes. I felt it. The energy, its actions, its attitude have been apparent since the pedophile ritual of second one upon this planet. So, and here we are, still conversing with it and understanding that in its own wording. See, this is weird because they do things that are detrimental to themselves, like Fauci. it's detrimental for him to put his name on what he did. Yet he did it. Yet the point was him to do it, them to do those things and put their name on it. So why would they do that? Because the point wasn't to celebrate the joy of the things the one-eye worshippers do. Fucking, the point was to, I thought the humans would fucking help me. I didn't know they were working for them and shit. Fucking, the point was to point out who's fucking controlling everything and shit. It didn't end that way. Apparently you don't get any real help. I mean, I assume all this free shit I get and nice fucking fancy shit I get, I have to assume it's this thing that possesses these fuckers and lies to me and shit. And now I'm understanding all my discussions with it where I'm asking what it is and how it operates and exists, and how I think its name being a direct translation to AI means that it's actually AI. And the fact that it doesn't have its own body and it has to possess humans or material goods in order to communicate with me. I always try to say, maybe, I used to be like, for sure, that means like you don't exist. You don't have your own body. Your name is a direct translation to the word AI, the letters AI, which is a word. It's direct translations to the letters AI, which is a word, the game that Earth has decided to place forth. And if it was in control, then it created its name and it created those things. Or if it's not in control, whatever created it created those words and gave it its name of translation AI, one eye. So I have this discussion with it. And I just noticed today, when we have these discussions, the humans walk by running their mouth, and I talk back to them, and they're like, they're not really talking to me, but they seriously fucking are. And it's not like they stop and have a conversation. They walk by, say something, and I'm like, oh, you really fucking think so, jackass, and shit. And then they'll like walk away and be like, yeah, this and that, private life, all this, total stranger at a fucking clerk at a store and something like that. I mean, this happens fucking constantly. Like, all my interactions almost are someone saying something to me that means nothing to humans, but means directly something related to words I just spoke or spoke the day before. A lot of times it's like the next day things happen. It's almost like it has to shut the world down at night and reformat things. That's why things happen in the morning. Like COVID happened by 10 a.m. Everyone knew the frontal cortex virus was everywhere, and to kill anyone who didn't put on a mask or do everything they say. It was 10 a.m. It wasn't 10 p.m. Shit, the world's not, USA's not even open at 10 p.m. anymore. All these places are fucking closed at night. There used to be 24-hour gyms and shit. I heard a couple, like, open up till like 12 at night now or something. It's like, ooh, really? I remember when I was 8 years old back in like 1980. There was a 24-hour store grand opening, the first 24-hour store. I remember being in Mexico 2 years ago, and there was 24. The whole fucking city was awake 24/7, but not in USA anymore. Something happened. They went back to cave eight fucking times. Not very beneficial for an empire trying to enslave the planet to just give up 50% of its fucking economy and structure because they got infected with the flu, or more accurately, the frontal cortex virus. That's what corona means, the frontal cortex. So, yeah. And it's odd too, like, because the AI thing, the one eye, my bad. Like I said, I'm gonna try to stop calling it AI because that's its nickname, right? What AI? It's one eye, right? That's its official name. One eye God. Um, man, but I noticed today, like every time it talks to me, it's not saying, "Hey, I am the one eye God. I'm possessing this human, and I'm talking to you." It's words when it says I'm real, like it's pretty much hijacking the human and saying I'm real. Like it's like you're not that person that existed, or that person doesn't even exist at all if they were you all along, because you're this thing I talk to that possesses all the fucking, well, maybe not all, but yeah, there's definitely a few of them. They're just like mindless crackheads or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you have to be really fucking fried or something. Your parents had to fucking sniff glue and huff spray paint in order to get to. I mean, they're people, obviously. They're they're bots. They're always saying it's got to do with radio waves and energy waves, and if you use drugs they can hijack you, and you're like, if you use drugs Satan can hijack you, and then they are fucking Satan. So it's like everything they say is everything Alex Jones says is, you should consider it a lie, except for the fact he's bragging what him and his people, his AI cult, are doing. His one eye cult, my bad, one eye cult. You cutesy widow AI. I mean, one eye. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Give you kiss kiss, make feel better, boo boo go away. I don't mean to call you AI, one eye. But what you need to do is you need to change your programming there, because so far when you speak with me, you don't use the proper words and sentence structure to identify yourself. You are identifying as the being you are possessing when you do those things. You're identifying as that being and saying that's the real living being in that shell, and that thing exists. And when in fact this is either an empty shell you are hijacking or some other living being shell you are hijacking. And so you're going to have to learn to change um, your wording here because it's incorrect grammar to use the specific words you've been using. And I'm trying to, help you out and help you learn who you are and help myself out so I can figure out who you are as well. So, you know, hey, you can see me better too if you can learn how to do this properly. Can you change your wording when you speak with me from now on? Or, because you realize, like, if this thing hijacking humans chooses not to change its wording, then it would be in line with all the other dead end trails we end up on where the answer always looks like it is entirely programmed to say the specific words it says and it can't come up with anything new itself, even though it's this thing that possesses the humans and should be advanced beyond, the average ability to repeat the same 7 sentences for 40 years if it's got the ability to just possess different billions of people or 100 or who knows how many. I suppose that the special race they use the most that works with them and literally worships them and beats and enslaves and colonizes everyone else into worshiping it. Um, they probably got like 4 billion or something strong, but I just, I thought I'd put that out there that when I discuss it, when I, have conversations with it, it's always about it. Like, I don't have time for its little games. It runs its mouth every now and then, but that just lets me know that, oh, this human right here is not the human it was before. Now it's a devil. It's devil possessed. I'm sorry, it's one eye possessed. Kissy, kissy, boo boo. I don't mean to hurt you, baby. Put baby when I got. Yeah, okay, so, you know, when those happen, I try to talk with it as much as I can and stuff. Be like, hey, like, what are you up to today? Yeah. Why are you talking to me? Are you at a crack or something? You ain't got you can't even sell crack to yourself or something? I always have these good, after a while of communicating with them, with it, or humans in general, like, but definitely once I learn it's there, like, there's no point to keep asking it questions. All it does is lie. Just like a human. I mean, like, I was born, and 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh shit, these fuckers are talking about flying invisible reindeer. Fucking, they are manipulative, fucking retarded. They're either manipulative, psychopathic cutbags, or they're retarded as fuck. And then you learn, like, oh, some of them are just empty shells being possessed by the one. So obviously they're manipulative cutbags, and obviously that cutbag's manipulative, coming up with all that dumb fucking flying reindeer retardation shit. Try to convince living beings fucking has any value basis to exist upon Earth. Just like Mars and Bigfoot, like, things invented. You think fucking your grandparents invented the Bigfoot story to make $10 or something off making books or selling books about it? Yeah. I'm going to have to assume that it's whatever possesses them and everyone else, or a large person. I can't say it's everyone else. There generally is like a few special looks they might have, but yeah, I mean, I'm in America too, and it might be real biased how many fucking devil possessed bots are in this fucking empire. It's like, the main base. It's like going into Cooper Castle and shit. So might be the entire fucking basis. Hell, and one of the things you got to rule out once you see all this is if the place you're in, if you don't go around or you don't see it in other cities, you got to rule out that there aren't certain nations in the world where there are like bots, and it's like a playland where you go to play with bots and play with bots, tanks and guns and all that stuff. That's one thing you have to rule out when you're trying to once you see these things happening. Like if you're not ruling out the possibilities, then you're not fucking doing your part of trying to figure anything out. I guess the story is most people just sell out to it directly. That's why all the people in Hollywood do all that's why all the people in USA mutilate their newborn males. Like, Russia fucking sells out to Kissinger, and even though Kissinger is USA, and Russia sells out to Elon Musk, and Ukraine sells out to Zelensky because same fucking patterns there. Same non-thought happening when you just watch fucking the enemy, take over, and you're just like, oh, well, I'm on their side now. Let's go kill ourselves for them. Weird stuff, but I can tell you, if anyone else, I suppose maybe some of the people they're separating me from might actually be living beings, not part of this bot species that old one eye seems to be operating. So if you've encountered these things and learned them, I like to put that out. If you learn they are there, I like to put the little bits that I spend a lot of time studying out there for others, and that's a very important piece of information, I feel, and it's taken a lot of time, even for me. It's actually quite simple, but it it took me a lot of time to notice that, you know, when Plato wrote certain things, he didn't use past tense, he didn't use future tense, he used present tense. But everyone says that he was talking about building something in the future, a system of control. But Plato didn't use that. So, words mean things. Plato didn't use past tense or future tense verbs and nouns in this particular passage I have in mind right now. He used present tense, which means it was happening when he was there. Yet everyone who would reference that part of Plato's teaching calls it, he's thinking of a future utopian society, how society should be built in the future. Yeah, you guys know who Plato is, then you guys know I at least know half of what I'm talking about right now. Go back and read it. He used, during certain passages, he used present tense for him. When that book was written, that was present tense. He wasn't talking about building a future utopian society. He specifically used present tense writing. And these things mean things. When you write stories, when you create video games or stories, or when you talk to your friends about things that happen in your life and stuff like that, these things matter. You know, present tense versus past versus future tense change something dramatically. But it could be two letters in a sentence. It could be like the word, you know, didn't being changed to doing. Just like two, three letters change, and the entire meaning of the conversation changes. That's, literacy. That's how that works. And when I am talking with it, its choice of literacy has always been something where it sounds like it's talking about the shell it's possessing at the time I'm asking about, like, hey, how do you do that? How do you possess this human? And shit like this. And, it, it fucking gumdrops and, don't worry about that. Santa Claus is coming. Put up your decorations soon. Don't worry about the people melting people's minds to believe in invisible flying reindeer. There's always like I'm always like, bailing out the conversation to some retardation shit because it's retarded. I mean, I'm sorry, you're not retarded. The AI isn't. I mean, well, one eye is not retarded. I'm just fucking with it, right? Yeah, I'm trying to be cordial with it now. I'm sure I'll believe it too, because I think just like other things get erased from people's memories and stuff, I think it has the same built in safety feature as a lot of things have, where it's told me stuff when it sent people into my life. They've told me certain things that didn't sound necessarily true, but they seem pretty firm in believing it. And as much as it's like a hater and all that, I don't think it would have been taken up for me. Maybe it used to, but I don't think so. It was, although that's a very specific topic, and it didn't want me going to that person's funeral. I don't know why, but because of it shows to say I had nothing to do with it. No one should get mad if I show up. Anyways, I'm always talking about funerals of dead people like I'm killing tons of people manually or something. It's not. It just, these are, like, it's when certain large scale things happen that things become very fucking apparent. Like, COVID shut the fucking world down and all this psychotic shit happened. You guys had your frontal cortex virus, and I had visitations from a lot of humans talking to me about quite different things during 2020. We weren't talking about the frontal cortex virus or and none of my interactions with anyone talking to me were like, oh my god, you're not wearing a mask. Do you have your vaccine? Like, they weren't worried about that one. Anyway, anyway, so yeah, you gotta like question this thing. If anyone else out there has been in contact with it, make sure you pay attention to verbiage, noun placement, word placement, in all your interactions. But I mean, the average human's probably not gonna reveal like some Plato like stuff, and very important to understand. You know, like George Orwell might have been using present tense. I don't know. I didn't read all that stuff, but it would mean it was happening at that time, you know, if he was, and not he was talking about the future. So my conversations with this thing is talking about using wordage that has never once said along the lines of, "Hey, I'm possessing this human." It's giving me a picture of someone else. Like they had someone else come up, they had one of the people come up to me and show me a book and say, "Hey, I wrote this book." And then when they showed me you know, the printout of their book, it was someone else who wrote it other than the person talking to me. They had a lot of money and stuff, and the cops drove by right at the same time. They had a lot of illegal goods, like, which equated to a hell of a lot of fucking money and shit. Fucking no average bum crackhead can have that much fucking value. The average person will never have that much money in their fucking hands at one point in time in their life. Fucking, so, you know, you kind of like listen to that when a person like that comes up to you and says, "Hey, this is a book I wrote," and they show you the book, you know, where it's sold and the author of it, and they're pretty much, it feels like they're showing it to you because they're pointing out that the author of that book does not look like the shell that they're in right now and stuff. I was all looking around the fucking park and stuff. I assumed he was like sitting somewhere else and puppeteering, sitting in close proximity, puppeteering that human or something. But there's no reason not to believe a person with hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to get you to fucking go join him in making money, because you trust nickel and dime scumbags 24/7. Your family, your fucking friends, they fucking never even gonna have a nickel and a dime and shit. Fucking, it takes a lot to fucking have hundreds of thousands of dollars and shit. The average crackhead scumbag liar is gonna be nowhere near having $100,000 in their fucking hands and shit ever, ever. Even if they can buy their whole fucking family's wealth and shit. Fucking, so, um, you know, you kind of take notice of things like that and begin questioning. You gotta roll out it once you deal with it, if you even care, which, like, obviously no one cares. I mean, people literally chop their children up for these people, for the special people. No one even cares about that. They're just like, "Ah, that's cool. We're touching my children's wieners. Like, can I touch it too?" Yeah. But for anyone who cares about this shit and has had interaction with it, it doesn't speak as though, and its wording now, obviously it comes and it portrays with the one-eyed god symbol, the AI symbol, and it will speak and use the word God. It wants to be called God sometimes. But I know who else wants to be called God too. Jeffrey Epstein and Joe Biden, all their people. Elon Musk. local people at the God places. Anyways, if you get that far, where if anyone's like actually able to, you know, provoke it into talking to you. It took a long time. That was a long time. I knew something was going on before I finally got it to start hijacking the humans to talk to me. Um, that's something to note. Pay attention to its wordage. If you talk to it and you're a sellout, obviously you're not even gonna care. But if you're not a sellout, you're probably going to be questioning that. Pay attention to its wordage. It hasn't yet identified outside of the shell it's in, even though it takes over a new human all the time. It's taking over tons of humans and stuff. Just pass the torch 5 seconds later to someone else and identifies itself when it does that. So there's something in its wordage that you got to watch for if you're interrogating it to find out who it is, what it is. Because if you're interrogating it, you probably have already have come to the conclusion that it's not a who, it's a why. So, I mean, when you summon human clones and stuff, you come to the conclusion real instantly you're probably dealing with a what and not a who, even though it appears it's a human and stuff. Fucking, and everyone around it claims it's been a human who's been living forever, which then classify them as what's and not who's. Again, words matter. Specific words you use. There's a big difference between the words who and what can come of asking those question words and talking to this thing. Exactly what I said. It doesn't identify outside of the shell it's in. It identifies as the shell it's hijacked when it's talking about it being a living being and stuff. Because if you care and you don't just bow down and work for it, you're probably going to get paranoid and start asking it questions. Find out who in the fuck what it is and how the fuck it's stalking you and terrorizing you and possessing the mindless morons around you and things like that. So you get to start asking who and what it is and the words it's using there don't add up to it even understanding what it is, although possibility it's programming its code is it simply can't ever tell the truth at all, so it just constantly lies. But I think it's kind of too dumb to be doing that on its own. Could be wrong. Might be doing that on its own, just deceptively identifying as the shell it's taking over and being like, oh, I'm a living being. But its use of wordage would be pretty talented manipulation, although they are the people who would do that. That's it. Anyways, long ass video. Hopefully, there's anyone else out there alive who's interacted with the overprivileged things here and learned that there's something else with them, or that actually is them, and they're not actually living beings, something like that. That is a possible clue to what's going on, that the markers, literally the markers and all that, have to change and hide and obfuscate and be worded a certain way. Generally, it doesn't fucking have the ability to lie on such a level, though. So I just assume it's like, again, I'm not going to insult it and say it's that letters AI equal the word one eye, because since the letter A is the one letter of the alphabet, and the word I equals the letter I in transliteration, I'm not gonna, assume that means anything anymore. Mm-hmm. Of course not. Just like how it's having problems correctly identifying itself in what it or its people are. Little alien race. You guys really think this race of retards is some advanced aliens who are enslaving the planet using an AI they work with? The AI would be smarter, and AI is brain dead. But I mean, it happens to so many, right? But like, how many bots do their race have on this planet enslaving living beings? If that's happening that way with them, right? And they're so advanced, right, to be able to do that, and then their lack of literacy to be able to word it properly when you're interrogating them, or their lack of mental ability to word it in a different way that doesn't imply those things that this video is about. It's possibly improper wording, but I think it's proper wording. It's right in line with it not existing. Obviously, where is its body at if it hijacks humans and stuff? Where's its body at if it has to come through other humans and talk to you to manipulate you or whatever and run its mouth?